Many years ago, in an Arab tribe, there was a man named Hatim. He was so generous that stories of his kindness spread all over the world. Whoever came to his door, left with their needs fulfilled. It is said that Hatim loved his horse very much, and the horse was loyal to him too. One night, some guests arrived at Hatim's house. Unfortunately, Hatim had nothing to offer them for dinner, and it was very hard to arrange food in the middle of the night. So, Hatim decided to sacrifice his favorite horse to feed his guests and took care of their needs. Once, Hatim invited the chiefs of the Arab tribes to a feast. On that day, 40 camels were slaughtered for the meal. After the feast, the chiefs began talking, and the topic of Hatim's generosity came up. One chief said, "There has never been anyone as generous as Hatim, and there never will be." Another chief suggested, "Why don't we ask Hatim himself if he has ever seen or heard of someone more generous or noble than him?" When they asked Hatim, he lowered his head and thought for a long time. Then he smiled and said, "True generosity is not about giving away lots of wealth. In my opinion, a truly generous and great person is someone who does not accept even the smallest favor, even for the greatest gain. I once met a man whose heart was much bigger than mine." The chiefs were surprised and said, "He must have been a king with great wealth." Hatim replied, "No, my friends. He was a poor woodcutter." All the chiefs were shocked. Hatim then explained, "One day, after hosting a big feast, I went into the forest. There, I saw an old man carrying a heavy bundle of wood on his back. His clothes were torn, and he was sweating. I felt sorry for him and offered to help. I said, 'Old man, I would like to talk to you.' I reached out to take the load off his back, but he quickly stepped back. He placed the wood on the ground and said, 'A person should carry their own burden. The only time someone else carries you is when you're going to your grave.' I asked him, 'Why are you working so hard at your age?' He smiled and asked, 'What should I do instead?' I replied, 'In our city, Hatim lives. He feeds hundreds of people every day. Why don't you go to his door for help?' The woodcutter looked at me and said, 'Hatim has 2 hands, and so do I. It would be shameful for me to eat what he has earned. I would rather carry this heavy wood than take someone else's kindness.'" All the chiefs were amazed at Hatim's story. Hatim then said, "That poor man had a bigger heart than I did." Dear children, the lesson from this story is that it is more honorable to earn your own living than to depend on others.